What's up, guys? And Hades 360 is the coaster I'll be reviewing today. While being located at Mount Olympus, it was retracked by Gravity Group, giving it way cooler elements than it had before. The original name was just Hades, and that well-known corkscrew inversion found on the other side of the parking lot was just an airtime hill. It was in 2013 when they converted it, and to be honest, I'm not sure if it was a better ride because, in my opinion, this coaster is super rough, and that's even with the Timberliner trains. But anyways, continuing with the stats, is 136 feet tall, pretty solid for a wooden coaster. It's 60 miles per hour, also very good hitting that top speed at the bottom of the drop. It has that famous one inversion that was one of the new elements the Gravity Group included in the ride experience, which you have seen, definitely seen this element before if you're a coaster enthusiast. It's just really well known. I mean, I saw it a long time ago when I was just getting into coasters, but it finally has a track length of 4,746 feet. It's actually very long, as you can notice a lot of the track length being under the parking lot, which is by far the most iconic part of the ride. It's just awesome. As you can see in this POV, it is pitch black. You cannot see a thing, and that's for a decent amount of time, probably about 5 seconds, maybe even more. It's also very speedy. I mean, you're just flying, but as I mentioned earlier, this section and throughout the whole ride is just rough. From my experience from Gravity Group, and especially on this one, they're definitely rough. Take for instance this one, of course. There's also Mind Blower, Kentucky Flyer, and some other ones, but it is constant on this ride. Even on some of the airtime elements, it doesn't really give some great airtime because it is just so bumpy. Right out of the gate into that double down, it is rough, not over the top rough, but it is sure noticeable, no question, and it's sure preventing from it getting a 9 or maybe a 9.5, even a 10. Obviously, the layout was absolutely fantastic though, which I'll go through every element later, but man, I've said this a million times, it's just rough. Other than that, there are very minimal cons other than the operations being just absurdly slowest in the time I went to Mount Olympus. I mean, even on the operations video, I recommend you check it out. It's just so slow. Theming wise now, it definitely has a very cool theme. Not that much though. I mean, there's the entrance sign and the name, which I love. The trains are also very cool. They're very vibrant and they look incredible with the face to the front. Overall, this coaster just looks good all around. Especially going in and out under the parking lot, that far point of the ride looks fantastic. Diving in and out of the tunnel. The lift hill is very cool looking, like lots of other wooden coasters lift hills, but then, and even in that lower section on the start of the ride, it's just impressive. But now walking up to this ride, it's definitely a good presentation. This park is basically set on a hill, so it's very hilly, especially this ride. There's that very cool looking entrance sign, Greek or Roman mythology or whatever. This is which this park is themed around, of course. There's the line that's very short, only up to a hill to the station, where most of the time there's no wait, which can be a downside, which if you know this ride has to run with lots of people in the back. Also in the front, it needs to ride with people there. That leads to people waiting there for lots of times, waiting for people to get on there, and even the ops don't even let you stay on to re-ride, which is kind of frustrating, you know. But from what row, even though it's more rough in the back, which it was still rough in the front, I recommend the back more because that drop out of the station, which is great, and also the way in the main drop, how it pulls you out of your seat in the back. You can find that sweet spot for where you want the Timberliner restraints to be and get the airtime out of the gate. But heading out of the station, like I said, you go down this drop right out of the station. It's good, but then that's where the roughness kicks in. I mean, even in the early parts of the ride, you turn up into a little double down. It's definitely not the best, but it succeeded in giving me a little airtime, which I guess it was solid. You turn around into another pop of airtime, which from what I remember, it is good, not great. Or then you twist up into that lift hill, definitely gives you great views of the park. Towering up right next to you is Zeus, one of their other wooden coasters. You get to the top very quickly actually, but then you speed down that drop again, very good in the back, into the tunnel right under the parking lot, which I love. It's just so iconic and I absolutely love it. You are rushing through there in the pitch black. It's pretty much twists and airtime pops that are definitely fun. Next you come up out of the tunnel, and that's just your moment where you're wow, I'm on the other side of the parking lot. Coming out of it, it's just wow, that was fast. Also a neat thing that I noticed is you can stand on the parking lot and try to be where the coaster is and say, yep, there's a coaster running right under me. It's just super cool though, and also it's very loud in that tunnel, definitely from the sound of this coaster, because Gravity Groups are generally loud like this one, but your only inversion on Hades is next, a corkscrew. It's very, very cool element. It has some great spots to film from the parking lot. It just looks so fantastic. The second of the three elements that is on that side is the turn, a very standard turn for Gravity Group. Then you come up a little bit into a very a nice airtime hill. Then you dive back down and go through that tunnel once again, very similar to the first time, but now just not as fast, but still fun though, of course. Coming back up onto the other side of the parking lot is definitely a larger double down than the first one, which my problem with these double downs is the first down is so tiny you barely even notice, you don't even feel that much. They definitely should have had the double downs have a bigger first part of it to deliver more air. But anyways, next is a nice twisted airtime speeding right by the station. It's not a flyby, but it comes really close to the station, which it has some great shot opportunities. It feels like you can stick your hand out and touch the ride going by. I definitely was cautious when filming this shot because I felt like my camera would even touch the ride. It was also pretty cool though. Then is this wide turn and into another pop of airtime, twist back around into upwards turn into the brakes. As you can see in this footage, though, due to the terrain of the park, there's this pretty big dip into the station to get to that level. Just something I wanted to point out. Also, it's on the coaster next door on Zeus, so definitely something reoccurring with the park's coasters. But anyways, I gotta give this coaster a final score, and I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Pretty good. I found myself riding this coaster multiple times because I really it is a good ride. I just feel like the roughness does take away from it. So that'll wrap up my review on Hades 360. Tell me if you have ridden it and what you think about it, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when I post a new video. It helps a lot, and see ya.